So, I was wrong. Kung Fu Panda 4 was one of my most anticipated movies of 2024, and I can proudly say that I wish it wasn't. I knew going into this movie that it probably wasn't going to live up to the original trilogy in any meaningful way, but man, did it just not even grasp the original trilogy's presence at all. Over the weekend, I decided to watch the fourth movie, and I really should have watched it with someone else, cause at least we could have made fun of this movie together. The story finds Po needing to find a successor to be the Dragon Warrior so he can become the position Master Shifu is currently. But Po is super insecure about it because he feels all he is good for is being the Dragon Warrior. He then runs into Awkwafina's character, who tells him about the Chameleon, a sinister bad woman who wants to take the chi from all of Po's previous enemies so she can be the greatest villain of all time or something. So Po and Awkwafina travel to different areas in hopes to stop her, leading to a bunch of boring scenes cobbled together of them traveling. While Po is doing this, however, his two dads, Mr. Ping and his panda father from the third movie, whatever his name is, are traveling around in hopes to find Po and keep him safe. But safe is too late, however, because Awkwafina's character turns out to be working for the Chameleon? Oh no! But don't worry, says the filmmakers, because 2 seconds later she feels guilty about it and they make her the hero of the story, who stops the Chameleon for Po and becomes the Dragon Warrior in the end anyways.
Fuck.
Yeah, this movie is very much a letdown compared to the original trilogy. The reason I love the original trilogy so much, and especially the first two, is how nuanced each film is. It carries a lot of heart and emotion into them, and while the movies are mostly made for children's entertainment, the adults who watch it can still be invested because of the nuance in the story. It's why people of all ages love How to Train Your Dragon, Avatar: The Last Airbender, and more recently, Puss in Boots 2. These projects all have beautiful animation and awesome action sequences, sure, but the story at hand provides enough nuance that everyone can walk away from the movies with a new lesson learned. With Kung Fu Panda 4, though, it feels like the writers collared together whatever story they could possibly find in order to churn out a new product for some money. Having Po be super insecure about being in the position of his master feels really weird, considering how much he's grown since the first movie into the third. In all honesty, it felt like his character had regressed to how he acted in the first movie in the beginning, which I found quite annoying. Secondly, he wasn't the active protagonist in the story either. Po wasn't in control of where the story went. Awkwafina's character is. And my god, can we stop giving her voice acting roles, please? My ears are starting to hurt. But in seriousness though, she plays the same character in everything. A snarky, sarcastic, annoying know-it-all that somehow still gets cast in movies like these. I don't think I can really blame her. All these writers are writing these characters specifically for her. I feel like her character could have been used really well here had they decided to either 1, full throttle the betrayal arc they made, or 2, provide way more backstory and nuance into her for her character switch at the end to not feel so forced and rushed. Funnily enough, the ending of this movie felt a lot like Cars 3, but instead of the hero giving up and forcing a cliche,
"You said it yourself, this might be your last chance."
Which makes it my last chance to give you your first chance, Cruz.
Po was captured, so he had needed someone to step up for him in his place. Until 2 seconds later when he gets out and she realizes he only did that on purpose. But having the massive character betrayal happen legitimately 25 minutes before the final credits is way too late to then have a massive character shift 2 seconds later. Like, why go through with something like that only for it to be counteracted seconds later? And I know some of you may be saying, well, Dylan, this is a kid's movie, so. But the Kung Fu Panda movies have always been centered around stories where character motivations are strongly built upon. This movie has no center for what Awkwafina's character wants to be. So when we're told her backstory and we realize she's been bad her whole life, and then all of a sudden she feels bad about hurting Po, to then stopping her mother figure who raised her, all in the span of 20 minutes, feels really rushed and forced. She reminded me of Sporky in Toy Story 4, in how all of the plot's events revolved around the main character being forced to interact with this new, more annoying and boring side character to move the story forward. Another thing this movie does is do a lot of telling and not showing. Like, remember when I made the comment that I'm sure the Furious 5 would make an appearance in this movie movie back in my video from a couple months ago? Yeah, they don't. At least the voice actors don't. And you want to know how they're explained to be gone? By Poe telling us that each individual member is off fighting separate missions. Bruh. Then there's just monologues on monologues of characters' motivations and plans of villainy that I just don't buy it anymore. Like, who is this movie targeted for? Because if you're targeting this movie towards the kids who were children in 2008 when the original came out, then you fail, because no one in my generation is going to really enjoy this. And if it's targeted for 5-year-olds today, then that's a shame, because this story gives barely enough nuance for those little kids to really think about. Again, this movie feels like someone in corporate putting their hands together, thinking of the best way to capitalize on this IP. I don't know why studios need to do this, especially DreamWorks, considering that the sequel to Puss in Boots was critically and commercially acclaimed. I don't know what in the world they're doing now after it. You'd think after making something like that, they would dive all in on stories with nuance and powerful storytelling, but no, they've made meh movies, and one arguably terrible one that no one will really remember. I think the best thing I can say for this movie is that Poe's dads were really funny together. I thought they had really great chemistry, and the jokes they were landing were quite well when it came to those two. Obviously, the animation is superb, given it's been 8 years since the last movie, but I will say that I feel it was a bit lackluster in a way, in terms of its creativity. I feel there were less 2D animation style sequences in this movie compared to the original trilogy, which was a shame. Jack Black in general was awesome to see back in a story like this, because I love his voice. I just wish he had better material. And lastly, this song goes hard as hell. All in all, Kung Fu Panda 4 severely disappointed me, and I'm sure a lot of fellow fans of the original series as well. Is it detrimentally bad to the point of ruining character arcs and their whole stories from before? No, that's what Cars 3 is for. But it is a step down in quality from the trilogy that birthed it into existence. If you do go and see the movie, however, just go in with low expectations. It'll be better that way. If you have seen the movie, what did you think of it? Let me know down below. That's all I have for today, guys. I'll see you all very soon. Peace out.